kind of microphone should I use for garage rock? Now this is a question that I get more than anything else in various forms, whether it's microphones, preamps, guitars, drum set, whatever the case may be. I get asked all the time, what piece of equipment should I get for garage rock? And the premise of this question is just completely wrong, and I think my videos aren't doing a clear enough job of what garage rock really is, at least to me. I use the term garage rock as a really broad umbrella term that is not really a specific definition. I don't even know how I would personally define it myself, really. The most popular videos on this channel are specifically related to kind of 1960s garage rock, which is where the term kind of stems from. But the modern incarnation of garage rock has took on a whole new meaning and kind of ethos. I think, this is the reason why I'm making this video. I think it's going to make sense once I start to explain what garage rock means to me and, how I mostly answer people who ask me these specific questions. To me, the idea of garage rock is very akin to the same type of ethos you have in punk music. At least the roots of punk music, where it was all about not caring about what other people think of you and kind of making your own way, making your own community, making your own sound, your own kind of theme, kind of just thinking for yourself and not relying on what other people are doing, what the establishment is doing, right? It's all about being anti-establishment. Now, 60s garage rock had elements of that, right? Where, it was originally called garage punk when they started putting out these compilations in the 70s and 80s. That kind of attitude was always there, a little bit of a different incarnation in different kind of sectors within what people considered 1960s garage rock. But generally, it was all about that teenage rebellion, right? And it's not about rules or following what other people are doing, and that's why, like I said, I wanted to make this video today to kind of answer a lot of those questions. Now, I have a previous video, I think titled The Plug-in Killer, where I talk about taking a Bogan amp similar to the one right here and using that as a color box. I think if you haven't seen that video, that's a good video for you as well, because I talk about kind of the same things that I'm going to be talking about today, where whenever I get asked this question, I don't recommend things that are traditionally like preamps. When people ask me, what kind of preamp should I get? I always recommend a Shure microphone mixer, especially like this M67 here. Like those aren't really meant to be a preamp, so to speak. It's just a piece of equipment that I personally enjoy just pushing to its limits and getting some distortion in there. Now, when you start talking about the sound of garage rock, the sound of 1960s garage rock versus modern garage rock are two drastically different things that have similarities, but really just are not the same thing, right? Like if you compare, Ty Segall's Melted album to any 1960s garage rock recording, it's completely different. Different themes, different way of writing music, different way of recording. It's completely different. However, I think we could all consider Ty Segall a garage rock artist, especially his first 6 albums or so, right? So these things, they have complicated meanings and definitions. So when you ask me a question like, what piece of equipment should I get for garage rock? It's a meaningless question. You should be just using whatever piece of equipment you have already. Whatever guitar you have already, that's the guitar you should have for garage rock, because garage rock is all about what you're going to make of it, what your sound is going to be, because you are the one in control of your own destiny. I know that sounds really cheesy, and I'm talking off the tip of my tongue here, but I mean that. Garage rock is all about finding your own way and being a punk, right? And not worrying about what other people have to say and what other people tell you to do. It doesn't feel right for me to tell you what piece of equipment you should get. And microphones, for all this equipment, microphones, preamps, guitars, generally, I would say, the cheaper the better, but that's only because you're probably a kid and you probably don't have that much money, and the easiest thing available is the cheapest thing you could find online or on Craigslist, or a piece of equipment you already have that's just cheap. This is like the only piece of equipment I ever bought new. This was $200. For a new guitar, $200, that's cheap, right? And part of garage is kind of that budget rock moniker, right? It's just recording and playing with the stuff you have, which is most often the times going to be cheap stuff. Now, kind of off topic, but just a little bit of a rant here. When people accuse me of having really rich equipment, I just think, or expensive equipment rather, and then I'm rich, I just think it's so funny because recently, as I said in previous videos, I'm trying to watch other channels' videos and see what they say, and the equipment other YouTubers have is miles above the stuff I have. I mean, this rack here, this Ashley stuff is all cheap. I all bought it for less than $100, you know, some of it for $20, right? So I just think it's funny that people say I have like really expensive equipment. I was watching a budget preamp video a couple days ago, and the cheapest preamp they recommended was $800. Now the stuff I'm recommending to you guys is $20, $50, right? So there's like different levels here. But anyway, it's not the point of this video. Garage. Stop asking me what microphone to get. Just whatever you have, or type into Google microphone and just see what one you could buy locally. Whatever it is, it's going to be fine. And, you know, use the cheapness to your benefit. I mean, you could really have some fun with pushing your equipment to the max. Once again, which is why I recommend something like this Bogan amp or the Shure microphone mixer. Really, any piece of amplifier or PA amp or mixer, they're all going to be good because they're all most likely going to be a piece of analog gear that you could crank the levels to, and that's where that saturation is going to come from. A lot of what people consider saturation or garage or a vintage tone is just saturation, right? So push your equipment to the limit. Don't worry about getting really expensive stuff and the right stuff. It's whatever you have. That's what you should be getting for Garage Rock. Hopefully, my message is clear. I don't want to come off as really either rude or trying to tell you what to do. It's not that. It's like I said, just such a common question that I get. So hopefully this video reaches the people that it needs to reach and you like it, okay? If you haven't watched any of the 1960s Garage Rock videos, obviously watch those if you haven't, because they're going to give you a lot of inspiration. Don't take those videos as a tutorial, so to speak, even though I kind of market them and kind of format them as a tutorial, but just take it as inspiration. That's really all it is. Make your own way. Don't try to copy what other people are doing. Have some fun, and to me, all of the part of what I consider my sound, which I hate saying that, it's kind of cringy. It's all stuff that I've just kind of started doing myself, and I just like the way it sounds, right? And some people like it, some people don't. That's okay, and I think that's where we're ending. Okay. Good night. Ta. Telly, baby, telly. I got a telly in my belly. I got a telly, dilly, in my belly. I got a telly in my belly. I got a telly in my belly. I got a telly, dilly, in my belly.
Well, that was a weird way to end the video, and you know what? Let's have some fun instead. Let's go on the good old internet, like I want you guys to do, instead of bugging me on Instagram. And let's go to incognito mode so you guys don't see all the porn I normally look at. And let's go to Craigslist. And now I'm going to be honest with you guys. You know I love my Craigslist, but the past year or so, it just hasn't been hitting, and unfortunately, Facebook Marketplace seems to have taken over. And let's just type in compressor, and look, guys, look at this. You cannot get any better than this. An Ashley compressor, about 25-minute drive from me for $50. They spelled it wrong. There's no E, but baby, this is what I'm talking about. Right here. This is like picture perfect for what I'm trying to tell you. Just type in compressor and get something real close to you. It's Ashley stuff. You know I love it. You can't go wrong. Perfect example. Let's see what else we can find. And it definitely helps when you put in audio compressor. I always make that mistake. And here we go. PreSonus Newark. That's about 35-minute drive for me. Not bad. $50. Another stereo compressor. Awesome. This has noise gates built in, so that's extra fun. Really great. Let us put in microphone. Let's see what kind of microphones we get. And not seeing anything really jumping out right now. Shotgun microphone. We don't really want a shotgun microphone, but that's not a bad price for one. Ooh, look at this. Radio Shack mixer. Let's look at that in a second. Ooh, we got a $60 1940s bullet style microphone. And not seeing much. Like I said, Craigslist really has not been hitting recently. Let's look at this Radio Shack mixer. This is exactly the type of stuff I'm telling you about. Cheap $20 mixers. This is perfect. This is for a 1/4-inch jack, high impedance microphone where you could just crank the levels and really get some beautiful distortion and saturation and clipping and all that beautiful garage goodness. This is great, man. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Let's look at this microphone. And looks a little beat the hell. It doesn't have an XLR output. You could rig a 1/4-inch jack on this, or you could put an XLR. I forget what the name of these connectors are, but you know, a modern audio setup doesn't have that. This might not be the best option for you. Might be a little work. It's a dynamic microphone, so not much could go wrong, even though this says untested. And you know what? Let's just go on eBay, because Craigslist, like I said, has not been hitting recently, and it's probably not making the best. Let's put in vintage microphone. It's not making the best lesson, Craigslist. Let's go to vintage microphone. Let's put in used, because for some reason vintage stuff is somehow new. See what we got. $90 too much. 120. Here we go. 1970s AKG D320B. I don't know much about this specific D320B model. However, these 1970s AKG microphones are great microphones. These hypercardioids, very similar to the EV RE series. You know, in the hypercardioid kind of, you know, similar range monetarily speaking for those microphones. Great option right there. A little expensive, Here we go. Realistic. Every time you see Realistic or Radio Shack, that's going to be great. $20 microphones. Like, I bet if we put in Radio Shack microphone, we're going to get a bunch for $20. $5. Forget it. $20. Look at this one. $5 or best offer. You could probably get this for less than $8. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. $10, $25. If you put in, let's put in highball. These microphones, they're a dime a dozen. Here we go. $16, $30. These are all going to be best offer. You want to know why? Because there's thousands of these highball 2 microphones on eBay. You can get them for so cheap. Let's put in vintage omnidirectional microphone. Let's see what comes up. Let's have a little fun here. That's an interesting one. I've never seen one like that. That's a little out of our price range. A little too expensive. This stuff. Here's more highball 2. Like I said, there's so many highball 2 microphones. Here we go. What's this? Omnidirectional dynamic. 1/4-inch jack. This would match perfectly with this Radio Shack mixer. You could have a lot of fun. As you can see, this is the type of stuff you got to do. Let's put in Shure microphone mixer, because I talk about those a lot. And here we go. $48. That'll do you just fine. Let's look at that one. Let's look at that one in a second. Ooh, here's an M68. A little expensive. Not too expensive. I mean, honestly, it's worth $45 for this thing, honestly. Let's look up a Shure M67, because, you know, I talk about those all the time. You could probably get those for real cheap. Best offer, $39 plus $20 shipping. You could probably get it for $45, best offer. Ooh, look at this one. Comes with the rack, to put it in a rack. That's awesome. That's probably worth the price alone just for that rack. You know, I love these Shure M67s. Let's look at this one. Let's see what we got. We got a bass and treble on this one, so you could have a lot of fun with that. Let's look at the back. We got some 1/4-inch jack outputs, as well as some RCA outputs. We have RCA inputs, microphone inputs, 1/4-inch inputs. I mean, something like this is perfect. So versatile. So much you could do with it. This is the type of stuff I'm talking about. You don't have to go crazy. I'm just going to end this video. You could see I could clearly have a lot of fun just looking at stuff on eBay, just telling you stuff that you could get. Something I recommend is always go to, you know, lowest pricing first or ending soonest. You can look at some bids to see, like this, 12 hours left, 0 bids. This is probably not something you want, but let's look. Ooh, like one of these. These could be fun. Let's look at this one. This has a built-in equalizer, as you can see here. Ooh, look at this built-in compressor. Guys, this is what I'm telling you. Look, they have it up for $185. No one's going to be bidding on this. You could get this. How much is shipping? $35? it's going to be a little expensive, $85, but I bet you that built-in compressor is a lot of fun. It's probably similar to, you know what it's probably similar to? Oh man, I don't even want to know how much it's going to be. These go for a really expensive, what's it called? A level lock? Maybe not a line lock. I'm going to have to pause the video for a second. Level lock. Let's see if we can find an original one. Those are kind of getting hard to find. I mean, look at this. $900, $1,200. You know who made these get expensive? Kevin Parker. You could thank Kevin Parker for them being so goddamn expensive. And apparently Butch Vig too as well. So you get the idea. You could have a lot of fun. I'm going to end this video now. I'm going to bed. See you later.